kiddos. If you are watching this video, maybe you weren't able to join us for the Zoom, or maybe you just want to see it again. But I forgot to record the Zoom. So I'm going to do the best I can to get this as close as possible to what we did with the Zoom lesson. So we were taking a look at reviewing some reflections. And we're going to start by reflecting some points over the x-axis. And we're going to review reflecting points over the y-axis. And we're going to start just with some points, okay? Now, I want to remind you that the x-axis is this guy, right? It's that horizontal axis, the one that tells us how far we're going to run, right? So when we reflect a point over the x-axis, that's the line that it jumps over. The y-axis is this line right here. That's that vertical axis. And when a point is reflected over the y-axis, it either moves left or right. So let's start with just a couple of points. Let's take a point, and we'll call him point A. And let's place point A at 2, 6. And let's place a point B at -8, +8. And we're not going to connect those dots or anything. We're just going to place a couple points. So there's our point A at 2, 6. Here's our point B at -8, +8. And you can see here we have 2 points that are above the x-axis. And we're going to reflect them by moving them below the x-axis. Well, the rule when you're reflecting over that x-axis is that you take the opposite of that second coordinate, or you take the opposite of the y. So when we reflect those points, we're going to show the reflection of A as A prime, and A prime is going to live at 2, -6, because -6 is the opposite of +6. The reflection of B, or B prime, is going to live at -8. That first number is not changing, but we're going to take the opposite of that second number, which the opposite of +8 is -8. So now let's point these reflections. The reflection of A lives at 2, -6. There's A prime. The reflection of B lives at -8, -8. There's B prime. So we reflected those points from above the x-axis to below it. All right, well now let's take a look at moving a couple of dots across the y-axis. Let's take a moment, and let's plot point R at 3, 10. And let's plot point S, at -7, 0. Okay, now again, we're not going to connect these dots. They're not going to make a shape. We're just going to put down a couple of, let's see, 3, 10. There's point R. -7, 0. There's point S. Okay, so you can see here we have 2 points. And here we want to make them jump over that y-axis line. Well, the rule for reflecting over the y-axis is that you take the opposite of the x-coordinate. We're going to keep that y-coordinate the same. So when we point their reflections, R prime is going to live at -3, +10. So from the origin, we go backwards 3. We jump up 10. There's R prime. S prime is going to live at the opposite of -7. Well, the opposite of -7 is +7, but we're still going to jump 0. We're not moving up or down at all. So from the origin, we run over 7 places. That's where S prime lives. Okay, well, we can also reflect entire shapes. So we're going to come down here to this third little quadrant, little graph here. And I would like for you to please plot 4 points. I'm going to write the coordinates. Then I'm going to we'll kind of get them together. So we'll call this parallelogram ABCD, and we're going to put point A at -6, +2. We're going to put point B at -8, -6. We're going to plot point C at -5, -6. And we're going to plot point D at -3, -2. So let's plot those points and then connect those dots, okay? So here for point A, we've got -6, +2. For point B, we've got -8, -6. I should label those. Point C is at -5, -6. And point D lives at -3. Oh, I'm sorry, kiddos. I didn't mean -2. I meant +2. -3, +2. So I want you to jump up. Now, take a minute and connect those dots. If you have a little straight edge like I do, I have a little index card that I folded right here. You can connect those dots with a straight line or just do the best you can. But we do want it to look like a polygon. We want it to be a little precise. Okay. So what we made there is a parallelogram, and we're going to reflect this parallelogram over the y-axis, over this guy right here. And the rule for reflecting, when you reflect over the y-axis, you're going to keep that second number. The y-coordinate stays exactly the same. The number that we're going to change is the x-axis. So or the x-coordinate. So we're going to take the opposite of every x-coordinate for this shape. So A prime, oh, sorry, that goes up high. A prime is going to live at +6, +2. B prime is going to live at +8, -6. We don't need to change that second number. C prime is going to live at +5, -6. And D prime is going to live at +3, +2. Let's take a look at that. So for A prime, we're going to run over 6. We're going to jump up 2. There's A prime. B prime, we're going to run over 8, and we're going to fall down 6. It looks like that's right there. There's B prime. C prime is at +5, -6. And D prime is at +3, +2. So let's connect those dots. And again, you don't need to use a straight edge, or you can take a Post-it note, or, engineer a solution if you need to. So there's the reflection of that polygon. And you can see then it turns that y-axis into a line of symmetry. Those two shapes are the same. All right, last but not least, we're going to reflect a polygon over the x-axis. Now for this one here, we're going to plot a triangle. And let's call this guy, I don't know, let's call this guy triangle X, Y, Z. The point X is going to live at -4, +6. Point Y is going to live at -8, +6. And point Z is going to live at -8, 0. Okay, well let's first plot those points. So here our first point is -4, +6. There's point X. Point Y lives at -8, +6. Yep, that looks about right. And point Z is at -8, 0. when you connect these dots, you'll see that you've made a right triangle. It's upside down, but that's okay. It's still a right triangle. Now we're going to reflect this shape over the x-axis. So we're going to take this shape from up and we're going to basically push it down. And we do that by reflecting the y-coordinate. So for every coordinate here for this shape, we're going to change that second number. So when we find the location of x prime, it's -4, -6. Y prime will live at -8, -6. And z prime will live at -8, 0. Let's plot those points. So here for x prime, we run backwards 4, we fall down 6. There's x prime. Y prime, we run backwards 8, and we fall down 6. And z prime is at -8, 0. And you're going to notice that z and z prime live in the same place. And that's okay, because 0 doesn't have an opposite. So that the location of that point actually doesn't change at all. And that's just because it's on the axis. When we connect these dots, you can see the reflection of triangle XYZ. Now, for the part I'd like you to do by yourself, I'm going to pause this for just a second. I'm going to write down the coordinates that I would like you to plot, along with how I would like you to reflect those shapes. So, 1 second, kiddos. All right, kiddos. So, what I'd like you to do on your own is plot this polygon using these 4 points, and you're going to reflect this guy over the x-axis. Then I would like you to plot a triangle using those 3 points and reflect that triangle over the y-axis. Put your name down there somewhere at the bottom. Take a picture of your assignment. Take a picture of those 2 and send it to me with an email so that I can see you kind of have the point, or you have the, you're getting the hang of reflecting points. And when you do your reflections, make sure you show the location of your prime points and label them up here on your coordinate grids like we did, so that your work is neat and organized and easy to follow. Let me know if you have any questions. See you soon.